The level of gang violence in places like Chicago, which is in the throes of all sorts of battles right now, has a lot of people wondering if we're experiencing some kind of deja vu from the 90s. That's when gangs really, my goodness, ran the streets of South LA, South Los Angeles, terrorizing communities here in LA and across the nation. Today, there's one group credited for really turning things around, a group called Homeboy Industries.
A reporter asked me once, how's it feel to have saved thousands and thousands of lives? I go, I don't know what you're talking about. I know that my life is saved every day that I'm here. I know that I get rescued every second that I'm in this office.
Here. That's an incredible man right there. That's Father Greg Boyle. Every year, he and his organization help thousands upon thousands of former gang members get jobs.
It's an investment.
We're looking for those people that have multiple felonies. We're looking for those people that are probably the hardest to serve as far as coming out of the gang life, coming out of those type of situations. Having served prison time doesn't hurt either. And the more tattoos you have, probably the better chance you have of being part of Homeboy Industries.
Spelled your name wrong. Joining me now, Jose Osuna, Evan Hess, and Inez Salcido. And I understand you guys, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for representing Homeboy Industries. And I understand you guys just had your annual conference and you've had a chance to talk to people from all over the nation about the challenges of reforming gang members. How did it go?
It went well. Actually, it was people from all over the world.
Really?
We actually had 5 other countries outside of the United States represented. So it's a great conference, 27 states, 92 cities, 121 organizations.
What's the common thread?
The common thread is really around helping people that have been demonized or marginalized as gang members have been throughout the decades. And so, you know, at-risk youth, homeless people, teen moms. It was just a group of great organizations that help out a variety of people.
There's so much misunderstanding about what leads people to gangs. And I'm sure you all, because you all at some point were involved in gang activity. You've been in the program 8 years, you said. 8 years. You've been with Homeboy.
3 years.
And Inez, this is your second time around, but now you've just completed, what, 18 months or so?
Months.
There's some misconceptions about what leads people to it. For you, what was it that led you out of the gang life?
My son. My son was born in 2011, and I didn't want him to grow up without a father. So I knew it was time to make a change.
What was the change that came for you, Inez?
I was tired. And when my son came to me and told me that if I wasn't there for his football games, if I didn't show up to be there, that he was done with me, that kind of woke me up a little and said it's time to change.
But you said it took you 2 times.
Yeah, the first time I wasn't ready. I was still in my addiction, and I still had a lot of things that I had to work through. So the first time around, I thought having a job was going to change me, but it just added to it, you know.
Do you think that's what the key is in the success of these programs, is that the person, we hear with alcoholics that when they hit bottom is when they decide, I got to make a change. Do you think that there's a similar concept there?
Absolutely. I think, you know, well, everybody is different at a different time in their life. So for us, it's really about having a place that's ready for them when they're ready. When they hit that rock bottom.
But then, of course, the challenge, too, is, you know, you come from neighborhoods and keeping yourself away from that life and not feeling the pressures, that's a real challenge.
Definitely.
And how did you do that?
Honestly, looking into my little boy's eyes. I mean, one of my biggest fears was, you know, having one of my homeboys come to Homeboy Industries and, you know, try to pull me back in.
Does that happen? Is that a concern?
Yeah.
And how do you guys handle that situation if somebody does come in looking for trouble, looking to re-engage someone from a past life? What do you guys do?
Well, I think, you know, we've had very little of that, and I think that's due to Father Greg's long-term credibility with the community. I mean, he's been in Los Angeles, in particular in Bow Heights, for over 30 years, still lives there. And so he's built relationships not just with the community, but with individuals that have been part of gangs, that are still active in gangs. And so I think that's what's really protected the organization, the fact that people come there for real change and a real transformation, and they know that Father Greg is really just there for the better interest of the community.
The stereotyping is really tough too, right? Because, you know, if people know you and you look at some of these guys and I see the ink that you have and people assume you're black or Latino, you come from a certain neighborhood, you know, you had that reputation. How do you help change the stereotype, not just from other people, but even within your own self? What is that conversation like with folks?
Well, I think that a lot of the things that we get to do because of who we are as an organization leads to transformation. Like for myself, after spending 13 years in prison, and then, you know, in the last 2 years being able to go to the White House 3 times, it speaks a lot to me about what's possible for me as far as transformation and change. And it's a great example for the individuals that are just walking through the doors at Homeboy Industries to be able to see somebody like myself that lived the life and now has made a positive change.
Inez, I know family is such an important part of it and has been for all of you guys. I know this. There's probably somebody watching right now who maybe has a family member that is in the life and they don't want them to be, and there's a struggle and a discussion going on, and they seem to be losing the battle. What can you tell that family member about how to encourage that person to help that gang member in their family that needs to get out?
I think it's important to talk to them instead of talking at them. You know? I think if you conversate with your children and don't kind of dictate to them what they need to do, kind of see what's going on with them, it makes it a whole lot easier for them to listen.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the head and in the heart, and there's some struggles that need to be heard, and by talking with a person, that helps bring that out.
Yeah, I actually had, like I talked about, I had a homeboy come, you know, and actually question me. And when he seen that I was sincere in what I was doing, the next time he came back,
The conversation changed?
the conversation changed, and he wanted a little bit of what I had, you know.
I got to tell you guys, it's really something to have you sit here, put those stereotypes aside, see the great work you guys are doing, the important work, the important conference you had. 2 trips to the White House, fellow. I'm a little jealous. Need a date next time? I really appreciate it, Ivan and Jose. Thanks so much for being here and representing
for
Homeboy
having us.
Industries and the great work of Father Doyle. All right. Remember the first